welcome back. So today we are going to be drawing a pumpkin. So I'm going to be using watercolor, and I might go back with some oil pastel later, but if you don't have watercolor, that's okay. Use crayon or oil pastel, whatever you have, color pencil. So the first step is look at this pumpkin. So I know we normally, when we draw a pumpkin, we just draw a circle and a stem sitting right on top. But if you really look at a pumpkin, you will see that right on top is not the stem. You see a little bit of the pumpkin right behind the stem, which means that we have to add a few things to our stem as we are drawing it. So another thing I want you to notice is the lines on a pumpkin are not perfectly straight, okay? So please do not get out a ruler. Do not make it perfect, because it won't look right if it looks perfect. So when we are drawing this, just bear with me. I know I can be confusing sometimes. But you'll see over here on a pumpkin how the lines, they curve out a lot. And then as you get to the middle, they get straighter. And then when you get to this side, they start curving out this way. So make sure our strokes, whatever we're using, oil pastel, crayon, or watercolor, or regular paint, make sure that our strokes are never horizontal. We don't want it to be this way when we're painting. We want to paint upward because that's the direction that our picture of our pumpkin is going. If we color this way or paint this way, it's going to look really flat. So the first step for your pumpkin is you're going to draw a circle. So a circle, this pumpkin is not a perfect circle at all. And if you turn it to the side, it kind of gets warped looking over here. It kind of looks a little off. So that's okay. Pumpkins are all sorts of shapes and sizes. So the first step is I'm going to draw my circle of my pumpkin. The only thing I ask is at the bottom, make sure it's not perfectly round, because if it is, it won't have anything to sit on and it'll just start, this is a picture. But if you had a real pumpkin and it was not perfectly, if it was round at the bottom, it would just roll around all over the place. It would never sit where you want it to go, okay? So remember to pause me as we go if you need to. So this is my pumpkin, okay? That's my shape. The next step that I'm going to draw is I'm going to do a little smiley. So it starts off kind of like our apple did, but it will not end up like our apple. So also I want you to look at this pumpkin stem. The stem is not skinny and long like an apple. It's kind of shorter and wider, and it's not all straight. It's kind of, the texture of it is kind of weird. So we want to see that in our picture. So after you draw this step, my next step is I'm going to draw my stem, and I'm going to try to make mine look kind of like this one. So do you see how it kind of has the same slant over here that it does here? Your pumpkin, you might have a pumpkin at your house that you're looking at, and you might want it to look like yours, or you can just make a pumpkin however you want it to look. So at the bottom of my pumpkin stem, okay, so this part, it gets a little tricky. We are going to draw these lines that are going out of our stem. Okay, so this will give it depth. This will give our picture, it'll look like our pumpkin is more round and that we could reach our hand inside of the picture and grab the pumpkin. So that's what we always want to go for. So the next step is I'm going to curve a line out, kind of like a triangle, and then I'm going to bring it down and then back up, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so this is the top of my pumpkin, okay? It does not have to look exactly like mine. I am a teacher that's teaching you how to do this. I have been in your shoes before, okay? So after you've drawn this, I can't erase this step because I drew it in Sharpie, but our original little smiley face, you will erase that. You won't see that anymore because you don't see that on here either, okay? So after you've drawn this part of our pumpkin, this is the hardest part that we just drew. Okay, so what I did is I drew my stem, I drew a line out on both sides, and I did a curve, but you can do a pointed if you'd like to. Totally up to you. Then you're going to erase that line. Then remember, like we said, our curved lines of our pumpkins, they go out on this side, they go out, curved on this side, and then they're more straight in the middle. I don't care how many lines that you put on your pumpkin, but make sure you're drawing lightly. Don't draw super heavy with these lines. And also, in a second, when we start coloring or painting, make super sure you don't use black on your pumpkin. Because when we're shading, we want to have some darker oranges and some lighter oranges, and we can use brown for that, but never use black. Do you see any black on this pumpkin? No. So make sure you just go ahead, take the black out, put it to the side. You don't need it. So my lines are going to start over here, and I'm going to draw a curved line down, and then make sure the curve, so the shape we drew right here, make sure a line comes out of that and down. Make sure a line comes out of that one, and then you can add some. Like I'm going to add 2 straight ones, and then I'm going to add one from my little pointed part. I'm going to add a curved one here and a curved one here. So you can have as many as you would like to. Okay. You will also need to erase, this line up here inside of your stem. So your stem should just be one solid shape. It shouldn't have all the lines through it. So now for paint, I'm going to draw a background line, always. So you never want your background line to be right at the bottom of your object. You want it to be higher up. So this is one I was working on. So I have my stem and my lines, and I have some browns in there too. But what we can do is, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to paint the whole entire pumpkin orange. Remember, keep your paper flat because all of the color will drip off. Okay, so when I look at this pumpkin right here, I see some lighter colors in the middle, some lighter oranges, and it gets darker as you are getting away from the sun. So on this side, and I might do it on this side, but definitely this side, I'm going to have darker colors, so brown. So what I might do first before this dries is I might add water to the middle. So remember, yours will drip if you pick it up. So mine is dripping, so you don't want it to look like mine. Okay, so and then for the brown, I'm going to paint my stem. So do you notice on this stem, there's a lot of lines, a bunch of different lines. So what I might do is I might get some brown and paint some vertical lines and let that sit for a second. So that's what I just did. I drew some vertical lines and let it sit. And then I'm going to get some brown on my brush, and I'm going to go over my right and my left side because we said it was darker. And remember, if it's ever too dark for you and you don't like it, you don't need to start over. You can add water. Water makes everything lighter. And maybe in the middle, I might want to go over my lines with orange instead of brown. And then up top, that stem should be dry-ish. And what I might do is I might go back with just water and spread it out so it looks like I have a little bit of texture inside of my pumpkin. And then if you want to, so mine's still wet, so it's probably not the best idea to start doing this yet, but if you want to, you can always add oil pastel. So this is white oil pastel. Before you do this, before you start painting at all or whatever you're going to do, you can always outline all your lines with yellow or orange, but do not outline anything in black, okay? So then now my stuff will probably bleed together, just letting you know. But I am now going to paint the surface of my pumpkin green. And my favorite part about doing the background line higher up is to where, so this is just basic green. But what I like is whenever the pumpkin dries, you can add little grass strokes, and you can also add grass in front of the pumpkin. So mine was not going to look great because I'm rushing it. Never rush your artwork. So it just looks like there's grass sitting in front of the pumpkin. You could also do yellow grass because in the fall, the grass will kind of die and dry out and it will be a different color. So yellow and orange you can add. You can do whatever you want in the background. It could be a Halloween background, Thanksgiving. It could just be fall. It's totally up to you. So whenever you're finished with this pumpkin, please send it to me at my email, which is aslewis@caddoschools.org, or my Canvas inbox. Either one is great. I have loved the work that I've gotten so far. So remember, focus on what a real pumpkin looks like. Try not to use your imagination so much, and let's challenge ourselves. Let's try to make a real pumpkin on our paper that looks like I can come in and grab it. So good luck.